Each and every one of you guys out there, we're talking boxing. We will praise you, O Lord, with our whole hearts. We will show forth all your marvelous works, and we'll be glad and rejoice in you. We'll sing praise to your name, O Most High. Shout out to the Most High God, Jesus Christ, my Lord, no matter what. I want to talk about some options that Deontay Wilder has out there. You know, the vice president of Heyman Management really kind of crystallized what we should all know. Of course, boxers want the biggest and best fights out there. And of course, Deontay Wilder would love to have a rematch with Tyson Fury. But things have become a little bit more complicated because Tyson Fury decided to sign with ESPN and Top Rank in the United States. And Deontay Wilder has been wanting to get a fight with Tyson Fury, but apparently situation has changed, and whatever their negotiations were, it seemed to have fallen through, and it's kind of in flux now. And Deontay Wilder is looking to Anthony Joshua, people claim, as he is looking to get a fight with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going to have a fight in the United States against Big Baby Miller. Now, as the vice president of Heyman Management so stated, Deontay Wilder has quite a lot of choices out there that a lot of people are just kind of ignoring. They're doing as if Deontay Wilder, if he doesn't get those two fights, you know, Joshua or Tyson Fury, that, you know, Deontay Wilder is going to be somebody who is without an opponent. And that's not true at all. Now, people have been talking about Dominic Brazil for Deontay Wilder, but you must understand, when you really pay attention, there's actually a lot of other people who could face Deontay Wilder. Of course, Luis Ortiz, he made his claim by defeating Christian Hammer in what was a tough fight for him, because, and he even admitted it was a tough fight, because Christian Hammer came, he did his homework, and he came to fight. And I don't care what anybody else says, even the vice, you know what's interesting? This interview with the vice president of Heyman Management Inc. actually happened before the Luis Ortiz and the Erislandy Lara fights. And Luis Ortiz said that these two fights were sleepers, and he was right. Brian Castellano, did an excellent job. You know, I say he was Castaño in another video. I'm sorry about that. Castaño, he did an excellent job at not letting Erislandy Lara off the hook at all. He was just relentless. And when we look at Christian Hammer, he did his homework, and he was able to throw the straight right on Luis Ortiz at times when we didn't expect him to throw the straight right. He would get it in there, and he was a live dog to the finish. A really good testing fight for Luis Ortiz, and a good testing fight for Erislandy Lara. And people are saying these fighters look bad because they were supposed to get them out of there or whatever. But clearly, Christian Hammer had proven to be durable when he faced Povetkin, and Povetkin couldn't stop him. So I think a lot of people, I was listening to, I believe it was Beeb and Ringside Reporter, and he was saying, you know, how can you, it wasn't Ringside Reporter, it was another guy, it was DT3, shout out to DT3, shout out to Ringside Reporter, shout out to Beeb. They were saying that, you know, this guy, he's claimed to be durable, but he got stopped in his very first fight. What does that have to do with anything, folks? We all know that Bernard Hopkins lost his very first fight. That doesn't mean he wasn't a great fighter. So fighters mature with age and experience, and they get better. Some do, some get worse, right? But some fighters get better. And Christian Hammer is a very durable guy. The only guy to actually knock him out besides his very first fight was Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury boxed him, okay? So, and Tyson Fury, everybody may agree by now, in the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury is probably the best boxer in that division. So, I want to show you guys a plethora of people. So one of them is Luis Ortiz, King Kong Ortiz. He's looking for a fight. So if he can get a fight with Tyson Fury, that would be a good fight. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Luis Ortiz versus Tyson Fury is a great matchup. I hope that fight happens. Now, Deontay Wilder was talking about, we were hearing talks about Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Brazil. I'm not really hyped on that. But then we also have Joseph Parker. Now, Joseph Parker is a top-ranked fighter. So I don't know how that would actually work out. Wilder was supposed to face Povetkin. Maybe he can get to face an aging Povetkin. Who knows? Right? But that's on the cards. You have a Chisora. That's possible. You have a Charles Martin. All right, so you got those guys there. But one person that's probably being overlooked in the whole equation is the up and comer Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce, you know, he's making a mark. It may not be right now, but Joe Joyce is another name you really need to think about in the equation. Some other guys that are in the game, he's pretty hot as he's coming up. Of course, he can also face Dillian White. If Dillian White wants to do that, that means he would have to work with Matchroom. No problem. Joe Joyce is a Matchroom fighter anyway, so you'd have to work with Matchroom anyway. But the point is that Deontay Wilder has options out there, and now what they have to do is see if whatever they offer and whatever negotiations happen, that the fighters who want to face Deontay Wilder, that they're satisfied with those options. Now, there's another thing I wanted to state, which I heard the vice president of Heyman Management Inc. talking about. That is, there was some negotiations that both Eddie, I forgot his surname all of a sudden, but you know who I'm talking about. The manager for Anthony Joshua. Not the manager, sorry, the promoter for Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie Hearn was proposing certain things to Deontay Wilder, and what the management of Deontay Wilder was stating was that Deontay Wilder is one that shackled down to some promotional company because he wants to fight. And what these promotional companies are trying to do is get Deontay Wilder on their roster in some sort of long-term agreement, 2-3 fights. Deontay Wilder wants to just do one fight, and that's it. He doesn't want to be obligated to. So if Eddie Hearn and Matchroom want to do something with Deontay Wilder, then it had to be a one-fight, one-off deal, and then Deontay Wilder would agree to that. Eddie Hearn was talking about, you know, Anthony Joshua's the A side, and how they do the management. Deontay Wilder, and they can't put offers to the table. Espinoza can't put offers to the table. But Espinoza seemed to have proposed certain things, put them to the table, and it seems like Eddie Hearn now is not ruling out Showtime as a place for Anthony Joshua to face Deontay Wilder. So that's pretty cool. I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder and Joshua end up doing some contract, because this is the reason why I think so. Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder both want to unify all the belts and become undisputed heavyweight champions. So why not do it, right? So I know Anthony Joshua came to the United States actually so that he could face Deontay Wilder. He can try to get himself inserted in the equation, especially after Tyson Fury crossed the seas and faced Deontay Wilder. Obviously, Anthony Joshua wants his shot at Deontay Wilder as well. If you notice, Tyson Fury does something, Anthony Joshua does something. That's what's going on. It's basically building up a rivalry between them if they can. What I would say is that hopefully, I don't see why Anthony Joshua won't face Deontay Wilder before the end of this year. I really honestly think that that's going to happen. But besides that point, though, I think what Heyman management has been doing with their fighters all the time was letting the fighters dictate how they decide how they would do things. So what you would notice is, because it's a management company, it's not a promotional company. So what happens is the fighters, they actually have their own promotional banner. Wilder has his own little small promotional banner, but he has one. And the fighters now dictate what kind of contractual agreements they want to have with other companies and other promotional companies, which I think is very good. And it's a model that we saw with Oscar De La Hoya and his Golden Boy. It started off with Oscar dictating how he wanted to proceed with his affairs. We then saw it with Floyd Mayweather. Now we have Mayweather Promotions. And what I like about the management, because the management's always interested in the well-being of the fighters, is that the management now is managing these fighters so well that they get they're not getting cheated out of deals. They're not being, as we say, put into bondage or in slavery, where you're with a promotional company, you signed their contract, so now you're kind of under them. And sometimes, you know, you initially thought that you had disagreement with them and they can just withhold money and funds from you, which has happened to several fighters under several promotional banners. One thing you can say about Mayweather Promotions, you can say all kinds of things about it that are negative. One thing you can say is those fighters, they get paid for what they do. Some of them take advantages, that's their problem. But the ones who actually, they get paid for whatever they do, and that's a great promotional company to be under. Golden Boy used to be like that. I don't think it's like that all the time now. I don't know what's going on with Oscar, but Oscar, one thing I would say about Golden Boy, they always put on some of the, you know, when we talk about major fights, they always put on some of the major, really good major fights, right? They do that. I gotta give them Canelo's fights with, multitude of opponents. Then we had we had that middleweight guy. I forgot what his name is, from Canada. Hold on a second. Maybe I'll see him somewhere up in here. I don't think he's in the top 10 anymore. Middleweights in the world, but David Lemieux, he got some really good breaks. He actually got a break going up against Triple G. So they put their fighters to some degree in a good position, right? If you stay with Golden Boy, you know, especially if you're a Latino, it really works well for you. They move you up quite well. So I could just think of 1 or 2 or 3 examples of that. And of course, we're seeing some of the other younger fighters getting now matching tough as they move forward. They're not becoming superstars, but they get matched tough. They get in the fights they asked for, which is good for them. So anyway, my point is that Deontay Wilder has other options at heavyweight, and therefore, when people say, you know, you have to do this to get this, Deontay Wilder would be like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind doing a one-off fight something, but I'm not into just doing, you know, being bugged down by a contractual arrangement for 2 or more fights with you because I want to fight this gentleman or I want to fight this person, right? And I thought that was a really good point, a talking point for me to just elaborate on. What is your views? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, share, and if you want to donate. You guys have a great one.